Hi everyone, I'm back to pick up with Psalm 18 where we left off discussing the darkness. I guess where I want to pick up right here is what the Lord had drawn my attention to and I needed to emphasize. Here in Psalm 18 verse 8, we see that it says, "There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it." Okay, what the Lord wanted me to point out here was this is representative of volcanic activity. Okay, because we see the smoke and the fire, and it kindles, coals were kindled by it, which is basically, what you'd say is the fallout from volcanic activity. But if we go back to verse 7, we see there was an earthquake, an earth shaking, and the foundations of the hills were moved, which in Revelations chapter 6 we saw that was a parallel to the islands and mountains being moved out of their place. And this was all because he was wroth. He was angry, okay? And we see the earth shaking. We see volcanic activity. Now, what the Lord wanted me to focus on here is what he had showed me back in my earlier videos. I think it was Revelations 9, where we see the pit opened, and we see volcanic activity, the pit, and we see darkness that could be felt. And that's where the Lord first brought my attention to Exodus, where we see the 3 days of darkness. Because we saw there in Exodus how that the darkness was darkness that could be felt. And the Lord was showing me how it's the same kind of darkness when we see the pit opened, okay? And what the Lord is showing me here, the pit is opened. This volcanic activity is the pit opening, okay? And then we see the smoke and the fire. And we also saw the smoke and the fire before the pit opened in Revelations 9. Now, yes, I was in Revelation 6, and I've jumped to, which I might be a little off on my chapters. Give me just a moment here. No, I'm not, because we see in Revelations 7 and 8, I believe. Give me just a moment. We see Revelation 7. We see where the 144,000 are sealed, okay? Yeah, okay. Then we get to verse 9, and the pit is open. But chapter 9. In chapter 8, we see a lot of activities going on that are celestial or heavenly activities. We see stars falling and mountains burning, being cast, a great mountain burning, cast in the sea. And it says hell and fire mingled with blood. And of course, here in Psalm 18, we see hell and fire. Okay, it's right. Let's see, where's that at? I think it's further down. Yes, here it is. Hailstones and coals of fire in verse 12 in Psalm 18. So Psalm 18 is basically giving us parallels to what we see in Revelations 6, 8, and 9. Now, I'm not skipping, chapter 6, 8, and 9. I'm not skipping Revelation chapter 7 to leave anything out. But that is about the sealing of the remnant and the multitude that no man could number, getting the white robes. So what we're focusing on is the things that are happening at this point in time. And the Lord wanted me to point out here, 7 and 8 is about earthquake and the volcanic activity, the pit being opened. Because here we see the darkness come into play, just like we saw in Revelations 9. When the pit was opened, there was a darkness that could be felt, or smoke. How did it word that? It said dark. Yes. It says the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. So what I seem to be getting here is that we're seeing the volcanic activity and then the darkness, just as the Lord had shown me in my previous videos a few months ago, when he had me to do the 3-day events and the locusts and the darkness. If you want to go back and look at those videos, you will understand what I'm talking about here if you haven't already viewed them. But here we see the volcanic activity, the coals were kindled by it, and we see he bowed the heavens and came down. Okay, the Lord parted or opened the heavens and came down. And where did he come down to? It says, and darkness was under his feet. So he's above the darkness that was created from this volcano, from the opening of the pit. He is above it. It's under his feet. Okay? And then we come down here in verse 11 and we see the darkness again. He says he made darkness his secret place, his pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. What the Lord is showing me here is how that he uses this darkness. He comes down and he uses this darkness for his own will. Now, it is releasing things upon this earth that are going to be cataclysmic, that are going to be horrific. But he is using this darkness because he comes down above the darkness, because the darkness is just below his feet. He made the darkness his secret place, his pavilion. So he's using this darkness as his secret place and his pavilion round about him. And when I come back, I'm going to shut this video down. We're going to look at exactly what is meant by secret place and pavilion. And we're going to use other scriptures with this. So you'll see that it's clearly the Lord. It's the Lord's word. It's God's word that is painting us a clearer picture. And I'll be back and we'll talk about the secret place and the pavilion, because the Lord is using this darkness to his advantage. And what he's going to do here is going to be when he meets with his bride, okay? And I'll be back shortly. I hope. I love y'all. Bye-bye.